because everything in this community at one time was difficult. This was part of a community where, you know, at that time we had no political really representation, and you had to fight for everything that you wanted to do. But I think we got some things done. My name is Vivian Cook. I'm a New York State Assembly member. I've been an Assembly member since 1991. I met Mr. Clarence Witherspoon when I became a part of a program. It was with the poverty program. He had a lot of insight into the community, and he seemed to have a lot of ideas how to better the community. And those ideas were always based around education and how to get our young people involved in programs and how to get them to go to school and graduate and become successful. He was instrumental in helping August Martin. That was Woodrow Wilson. He was on the school board at that time, and they were able to revamp August Martin and brought a lot of programs in there with the airport and so forth. The school was called Woodrow Wilson, and they renamed it August Martin. I always accredit him for getting 223 built. He would just sit down and talk to people and show the needs of the community. And there was a parcel of land there, and he picked that particular spot to build that school because there was a need for a new school. I think he would just sit up straight and voice his opinion. I don't think I've ever known him to be rude or anything like that. But he was very straightforward, and he was aggressive in his speaking. Okay, he didn't kowtow to people and you know, have to back off of what he said. If he believed in something, he stood up to it. Mr. Witherspoon was instrumental in getting that building built, the multi-service center. And what happened is, years ago, they used to have a Board of Standards and Appeals, and if you wanted anything in the budget, you'd have to go there and you'd have to sit there and, you know, really work at it. So he used to go down there, and sometimes he'd go and you know, they'd be early in the morning and he'd still be arguing to keep that money in the budget. But I always credited him for being the person that was responsible for keeping that money there so it could be built. Young people in South Jamaica, they didn't have a college. We didn't have a college, and everybody wanted to have one somewhere else. So he was one of those people that stood up and said, this community deserves to have a higher education base. So that's why York College was built. He and some other people fought very hard for York College. Well, I think that maybe they could stand up for what's right. But you have to have a backbone to stand up for what's right. And Mr. Witherspoon could stand tall, and he could voice his concerns, and he wasn't afraid to speak up. So that's one of the things that other people have to develop. If there's a problem, you have to stand up and you have to talk about it. I think that question is self-explained for what the legacy that he left. He left an imprint here. I think that when he moved away, I think that people were a little upset or disappointed that he was gone because they didn't have that mouthpiece. They didn't have that person that they could go to and sit down and have him counsel them or lead them in the right direction, or, you know, listen to his opinion about something. I think that was remiss, you know, here.